For the first time, thank you for stopping by. If you're watching this as a playback, thank you for doing so. Welcome to story time. Let's see who is online. If you can hear me, you can see me, hit the like button. For those that are watching me for the first time, story time is basically a segment where people send me their stories to foodchannel1960 at gmail.com. All right. And if they resonate with me, I will bring your story on like this, and then we can all enjoy, okay? Let's see who is online. If you can hear me, you can see me, smash the like button. Smash the like button. Give me the thumb up if you can hear me, if you can see me. Akbede Farms, what's up, bro? Smash the like button if you can hear me, if you can see me. Nice. Fantastic. What's going on, people? It's a bit early today for some of you. All the way from Dallas, Texas. Isla Jacobs. What's up, Isla? Greetings. Greetings, comrades. Greetings, comrades. Anyways, good to see you too, Hetty. Yeah, it's early, man. Yeah. So, these story was sent to me by a woman, one of the subscribers. Before I crack on, if you need an errand service in Nigeria between now, today, at the time of filming this, and the end of February, send me an email to foodchannel1960 at gmail.com. If you need, that's land procurement, if you need anything, somebody send me an email about they want to fence a land. If you need anything doing in Nigeria from now till the end of the month, thereabout, let me know. You're going to pay me for my time, for my service. If you need anything doing, let me know. Anyways, let's crack on. So, this story came from, if you want to get in touch with me, send me an email or on Instagram at Phrankleen, the way it's spelled on my YouTube channel. DM me and let's talk, okay? Only serious people, no time wasters. If you're serious, if you would like me to help you to get anything done, you want to buy something, you want to ship something to yourself, if it's to do with land, documents, transcripts, whatever, get in touch with me. Uzoma, I'll look through my email, all right? Within now and the end of February, get in touch with Phrankleen, okay? Foodchannel1960 at gmail.com. Look in the description. So these story was sent to me by a lady, that watches my channel, like I said. So she, years ago, back in Nigeria, she was about, 19 at the time. She was dating this guy. He was 21. They were both young. They both had their mothers, respective moms, breast milk desperately wet on their lips, okay? So, one thing led to another. He pounded her to dust. She got pregnant. She was nearly 20 at the time. And because her parents still belonged to these Anglican diocese, Anglican church, and they were forefronters, they were worried about their reputation. What will people say? What will the Joneses say? They were worried about their position within the wider context of the society. Well, they saw the lady's pregnancy at the time as a form of embarrassment. So what did they do? They met with the parents of the dude, the other side. They connived and they pretty much forced their daughter and the guy into a marriage. This is quite prevalent in our society. It's one of the reasons why this story interests me so much. One of the things I talk about, toxic culture, right? So this lady said her dad was at the forefront of the decision. She had no say. She couldn't say no. She was young. So before they knew it, both parents and family members on both sides came together. They did the introduction, like a small-scale wedding ceremony. So now the in-laws, right, they have a 5-bedroom duplex. They also have a 2-bedroom boys' quarters, which is like a smaller building behind the main building in the same compound. So herself and the new husband now moved into that. At the time, he was about 22, she was 20, right? They have a new baby. They're both young, not much in terms of qualifications, and and then at that point in time, what tends to happen is reality sets in. They've got a baby. They were babies themselves. You understand, right? So it was quite tense. The tension was heightened, and then they basically said she basically said the in-laws, the dude's parents, they pretty much took control of everything. They were giving them money. They were basically looking after their baby. She didn't like it, but she didn't have a say because her father kicked her out and said, "You've got to go live with your husband now. You have a child now." And trust me, these kind of behavior, these kind of practice is quite prevalent in Africa. Now, the dude, his own parents basically kind of found a spot for him within their agricultural business. He started managing a medium-scale poultry, right? Getting daily supply of eggs. Also, the other side of the poultry business, it was selling chickens and stuff. But pretty much their parents were basically, like a hawk watching over them. This lady said she was also subjected to a cycle of being like a handbag, sort of like an errand girl for mother-in-law. She was sent from A to B. She didn't have a say, even though she didn't like it. Everything was fast-paced. Her parents were not listening to her. They kicked her out. "You're not coming back home. Stay over there. Stay over there," right? So got into a lot of argument. Herself and the dude at the time. Bear in mind, they were both young, zero experience. And these families, both families forced them into that union. They have a child that's also growing. So eventually, the in-laws came up with an idea. They got both of them UK visas. I don't know who convinced these people. They thought if they send them abroad, they will be able to magically have a fantastic life in the UK. They ignored the root cause of the problem, which was forced union. They were both young. Marriage is not something you can just conjure and force people into the confines of a union simply because they have a child. You understand? And what I also find hypocritical about a lot of these African parents is these are the same people that find sex education as a taboo. They would never sit down with their children to educate them, but the same children that you refuse to put knowledge into, Justina, thank you for the super chat. When the same children come home with random pregnancy, or they've made a mistake, or they've gotten a girl pregnant now, you then hijack that situation and start talking about the shame that may have brought upon you, ignoring the fact that it's going to change the course of the life of those children forever. Does that make sense? So anyways, the in-laws sent both of them to the UK, and then she said when they got here, When they got to the UK, due to cultural difference, cultural shock, the lady said the father-in-law and her father made all the decisions. And now, somebody said that's not a forced union. Were they forced to do the banana business? Yeah, they were not forced, but I think you're missing the point. Two youngins, right? They met themselves, they had unprotected sex. They're fully responsible for that. The parents on both sides, they forced them into marriage. Okay, if you're a Nigerian, particularly if you're Yoruba, you would know what I'm talking about. These happens all the time. Okay, don't pretend like you don't know. The lovemaking, the sex side of the whole thing, both of them are fully responsible for that, of course. But they were forced into a marital union by the parents on both sides, which is absolutely unacceptable. That's what we're addressing. So anyways, they came to the UK, and the lady said before she knew it, she had a couple of more children, and they're here in the UK. They had a couple of more children. They carried on. They carried on living, together. But the lady said she was never happy in the union. There were issues of, actually, before they left Nigeria, there were a couple of issues of domestic violence. Basically, she said there was something. They had a massive argument. They were in each other's face. So the dude slapped her about twice or three times, threw her on the couch, and the families shut it down. They asked her to get on with it and all that. That happened once. And then in the UK, over the years, she had to put up with several beatings. And, she said she was never happy. Anytime she tried to communicate with her parents back home, they would disregard her concerns, ask her to keep quiet, remain in her husband's house. She said particularly her dad never gave her a room, and they would always weaponize the fact that, oh, you're the one who chose to get pregnant, blah, 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 blah. Stay over there and deal with it. There was no moral support. There was no emotional support. So eventually, January 2022, this woman had enough, and she left the marriage. She actually moved out. Did you hear what I said? Normally in the West, the man moves out. But she said because of the complexity around the living conditions and all that, she hasn't got any more energy. She's had enough. So she moved out with the 3 children. She's living alone now. And she said, Phrankleen, it's like the best part of my life is all disappeared and stuff. She's 32 now. So she's eventually moved out and moved on. And she said all hell broke loose back home. Mom and dad, they're cursing her. They're basically telling her, oh, she will end up in tatters. Oh, she will end up in disgrace. She will never be a good mother to her children. All sorts of emotional, abuse and nasty words thrown at this woman. So she said, Phrankleen, I'm confused, I'm deflated. And he comes around to see the children once in a while. This woman said she's so deflated. Some people are telling her, oh, get him to pay for this. I'm not even bothered. If he comes once in a while and says, oh, this is for the children, she would ask him to put it on the table. She just can't be bothered to get in a fight or anything. She just wants that freedom. And the lady said, I'm taking each day one step at a time. I'm trying my best, to deal with my mental health. There is no support network. She said she has an Indian friend and another Portuguese woman who is another good friend who is very, very supportive. She said her family basically, somebody said 32 is still young. She can reinvent herself and start a career. The best is yet to come. I agree. But do you know what the truth is? Do you know what the truth is? When people are depleted or damaged, particularly mentally and emotionally, it's usually very hard. Very, very difficult. In fact, what I have found is, you see, the way this lady has moved out of the relationship, some people are still going to need some more years. They'll be hurting emotionally now. And for them to gain closure and be able to forge on mentally, it might take them even more years. Some people, in the worst case scenario, they may never gain closure. They'll become emotionally damaged. They might even turn out to become vindictive, and they would take it out on their children emotionally. This is what happens to people. You understand what I'm saying? This is what happens to people, man. It's crazy. But my main point is, yes, she needs therapy. These toxic culture, these women's life went down the drain. It started from who? Her parents. I cannot count the number of times I've seen this happen. Somebody said, I disagree. Her parents are highly valid. They saved her from the shame. They didn't save anything. This is exactly what I'm addressing. That's absolute garbage. This is prevalent. There is no shame. You understand me? Now, if I was a father, of course, any parent, any well-meaning parent would want their son or daughter to, do things accordingly, find a good partner that you want to build life with, have your children, hopefully, if they're the right partner for you, have your children within the confines of that union, however much you want to have a nice life, right? If this lady were to be my child and, they brought home a child, a pregnancy, I'll let them know my devastation, my disappointment, but I will never force my daughter into the union of any marriage. I would never do that. I will never be a party to such. You're not helping. It's actually funny because it proves my point that there are people on here saying, oh yeah, the parents saved her from what shame? Somebody said, what about the shame of a husband beating her? Exactly. You understand me? In Nigeria, we know the culture. They see it as a shame if the lady's not married and she has a kid. Exactly. That's what I'm addressing. All of these talk about shame, right? If we look at it critically, if we unpack it, it stems from the selfishness of the parents. Do you understand what I'm saying? They are pretty much thinking about themselves. They're not interested. They're not exactly interested in the mental or emotional or the rounded well-being of their daughter. You understand me? Do you know what it takes to exist in the confines of a marriage with someone? It's not enough that you have procreated with someone. Because you have a child, it's not a reason to say you must mandatorily matchmake and force them together. I'm truly against forced marriage. Surprisingly, they actually tend to be way more successful than conventional unions. DV is the start of the end. Completely unacceptable. Yeah, it's unacceptable. Now, if you begin to unpack it, if you look at this lady's life, the complexity, this is someone, she repeatedly said it in the long-wounded email, I was never happy. In fact, one of the worst parts that I found devastating when I was reading it, she said, all through that union, Phrankleen, every time I made love to this man, it felt forced. I was just fulfilling righteousness. I had no choice. I would just lay there and open my legs. It was the same case every time. Each time I got pregnant and had 2 additional children, she had no choice. You can imagine being trapped in a union whereby you had to lay your body down for someone else's sexual gratification. Because, to be honest, mostly for women, it's an emotional thing to be connected to someone, you know, for them to open up both internally, particularly emotionally, and make love to you. Except if it's a kind of woman who is earning a living off providing sexual services. Now that's totally different. Do you understand? There are plenty of people like that, man. Oh, what would the society say? Oh, what would the pastor say? Oh, my mom said, my dad said, is why people have been trapped in very toxic unions. Yeah, it's truly a blow against the soul to be intimate with someone you don't like. I agree 100%. But these things happen all the time. They freaking happen all the time. It's toxic culture. If there's any parent that lies to you, that tells you, oh, we are trying to save you from shame, so you must mandatorily get with this person. It's a deadly move. They are selfish. They are setting you up for disaster. You're going to lose your time. You're going to lose the best part of your years. You're going to lose years. You become an emotional slave. You become a sexual slave. You become trapped in a place where you are neck deep in bitterness. Why do people do it? I've never seen it work out, man. There are so many women, some of our mothers, that they were forced into unions. They hate to admit it. A lot of them, even though they're elderly today, they're still alive. A lot of them, they just functioned as kitchen slaves and bedroom slaves, baby making machines for the best part of their lives. They cover it up with religiosity. They cover it up with all this nonsensical, it's our culture. No. A lot of them were never happy. You can imagine how devastating you having sexual intercourse weekly, week in, week out, on a monthly basis, yearly, with somebody you're not emotionally bonded with. That's crazy. You understand me? If you have not been there, you would not understand how it feels to be in the same space with someone you don't love. Honestly, the surprising thing is even now in 2020, people still discriminate against ladies who get pregnant out of wedlock. And the society makes it look like being pregnant, you just can't achieve more. Yeah, it's a toxic behavior. I do not think parents can tell their kid, if you impregnate a lady or you can get pregnant, you will marry that person, because if you think you are old enough to play adults, then be ready to grow up. Yeah, I prefer, if somebody, to borrow that statement, bro, if somebody believes they're old enough to have unprotected sex, then you should be grown enough and be ready to look after whatever child you've brought out of that behavioral pattern, right? I get that. But it can never be a justifiable reason for you to force people into a marital union. You can have a child, and yes, I agree 100%. You have a duty of care towards that child. Go and get whatever job you can get your hands on. Take care of that child because you brought that child into existence. It's the responsibility of both of you, right? But nobody on this planet has the right to force people into a marriage. You don't have the right to do so. I actually think it's a criminal behavior. Progressive couples truly don't realize how good they have it until they watch situations like this. Love and respect is great, but they're rare nowadays. What shame exactly are they talking about in this age and time? To date, my mom hates her mom due to forced marriage because my dad is a narcissist, but she's still married to him. Why she has to endure for the sake of us, just imagine. Yeah. Protecting their idiotic religious and society titles. Make a mistake should not equal mortgaging your future to a Shylock. This behavior, people need to understand something. Western thinking and reasoning away from back home. I don't get why many people get surprised by the advice given to them by these old parents. The man is the one who releases a seed. He is the impregnator. We're not doing blame game, okay? The man is the one who releases his speed. I mean, his seed. He's the impregnator. No, this is not gender war. Let's not mudsling. They are equally responsible. Okay? They are equally responsible. Let's not create unnecessary bias and complexities. You understand? A man can have a genital the size of a horse's genital. If a woman doesn't want to sleep with that man, she wouldn't. It's your body. You have control over it. If you choose to make love to a man, you also have the ability and sensibility to say, hey, put on a condom. Do you understand? So let's not do about, oh yeah, the man. However, the woman is always the one who takes the brunt. Now, yes, the woman takes the brunt from, that's what we're addressing, unfortunately, the deeply rooted toxic culture within the wider society. But I am actually talking about the two individuals involved in the process of bringing a child to existence. Do you get my point? You are equally responsible. But if we look at the way the wider society unfairly targets the woman or puts a label of, oh, you're a slut, you are this and this on the woman alone, I say it's absolutely unfair. If you're going to point fingers equally. So they're two separate problems. But I agree. I see your point. I would prefer to die in some abuse relationship. What does that mean? Women, but protect yourselves from this. Skin to skin is good, but now see what you put yourself into. Yeah. They are equally responsible for sex, but the woman has 100% control in bringing or not bringing the child into the world. But I will also tell you, most 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 19-year-olds, man, they just randy. They're like rabbits. They discover their tools are working and they just get busy. Most of them are like rabbits. Emotional maturity, emotional development, mental and psychological awareness is really not there. And it's a vicious cycle. If you're a product of an environment or a set of parents who have not basically giving you proper sex education, a lot of people make mistakes outside. A lot of people, women, young ladies, pick up unwanted pregnancy because whilst the skin to skin is juicy, is enjoyable, they're not fully aware of the repercussion. It's when you grow older, you start to realize, you start to think. Hopefully, people learn from their mistakes, then they start to realize that, oh man, oh, I wish I had known when I was 22. I wish I knew better when I was 21. I wish this, I wish that. Most parents fail to give children sex education. Parents should be able to educate their children at home before they go out. I prefer shame than dying in some cowards. The same parents talking about shame are the ones who have side chicks. Yeah. The same fathers, they have side chicks. Some of these mothers even have side dudes. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Some of these parents think when they sit down and talk about love making and sex education with their children, it's, I don't know how they see it. Maybe it's demeaning to them. They wouldn't even know how to approach it. You know, if I have a growing young lady in her early teens and stuff, I'm not afraid to talk to my daughter. You understand? And like I always say, because compatibility checks are very, very important. You're basically looking to spend forever with someone, and you're going to approach it blindly? Nah. Compatibility checks is absolutely crucial. That's why you have cases of plenty of people across the world. It could be in the diaspora, outside of the diaspora. People, you know, you get with partners and there's probably zero compatibility. Do you provide compatibility checks via IFA? I can help you with that. I can help you with that. The business of side chicks is expensive. The COVID pandemic has affected it. People have always had side chicks and side dudes since time immemorial. Since time immemorial. So that's the story for today. That's the story. I wish the lady, you know, all the best with the rest of her life. I hope she's able to gain closure, because it's an uphill journey when it comes to gaining psychological and emotional closure. Like I said, some people may never gain closure. Depending on the damage, the level of the damage, the type, you know, it's very hard, man. It's very hard. I personally have met people who have come out of unions after many years, man. Both men and women. You can never have that time back. Please, what about when the lady was asked to get rid of it and she refused? Well, Eric, thank you. The happy median is arranged marriages. Look, man, that's another type of angle and totally different story. If a dude, if you're gonna have make love to someone and you're not going to put a cap on it, you're not going to cover up, and then they get pregnant, you ask them to take it out, and then the lady says, oh, it's my body, I don't want to take it out, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the case may be, if they choose to have unprotected sex and they have the child and they choose not to take it out, then they should also choose to have a lifelong responsibility for the child. And it should be joint responsibility. Do you understand? And also, if you're a lady, if you're contemplating on, I shouldn't even be telling you this. I'm not a medical practitioner, but I'll say it anyway. If you're a lady, you're caught in some kind of really nice, juicy position with a dude, and he's telling you, let me just put the tip in, let me just slide in. My pull-out game is top level. I'll pull out, very quickly. It's a big fat lie. A millionth of a drop of sperm is enough to bring a child into existence. Fact. So if a man is trying to sell you his pull-out game, oh, my pull-out game is absolutely sophisticated, I'll pull out within the 2 shakes of a dog still, that's a big lie. That's a big fat lie. All right? So, but I also know that as humans, some people might be determined, no, I'm not going to have sex with him. I'm going to make sure. And then when you get caught up, you're cozy up in the room in the heat of the moment. When you get caught up, before you know, boom, you bust your legs wide open. It was enjoyable. It was so lovely. You're sweating profusely. And then before you know, you're pregnant. Some women, once they become pregnant and they realize that they got a life in them now, their mindset changes from who they were before pregnancy, and they're not going to take it out. They'll keep their child. Man, there's no such thing as pull-out game. Nope. Rest. I think advice should be directed to men and women. I find the advice directed to women most times. There's nobody directing anything to women specifically. There are some of you, you're just troublemakers. You're always fault finding. I think I already said that. If a man and a woman have unprotected sex, you bring a child into existence, you have equal responsibility. That settles it. This whole throwing gender war, yeah, I feel women, look, I haven't got energy, man. This will be within the quarter of the shake of a dog still, or else. Oh, you can take your misogyny elsewhere. What's Gabriel saying? She can stay a virgin and get married. What's he saying? These sort of arrangement destroys lives. I'm pretty sure some of our parents didn't experience orgasm because of this marriage. Some of them believe orgasm is satanic. Women can't manage sex emotions for some reason. No fault finding, balance the advice. The advice is balanced. If you don't like it, chicka, go watch something else. I'm going to block you. And the only reason I'm telling you is you are basically trying to start gender war. Don't do that nonsense on my channel. I will block you and you're gone forever. Okay? You're talking to a grown man. I have my own wife. I have 3 children. My firstborn is a 16-year-old going 17. This is somebody's story. I'm not here, to play to your nonsense. I'm too grown for that. Don't come here to tell me rubbish. I'll block you. I'm short-fused when it comes to foolishness. Okay? Pay attention to when I started. I haven't got time for that, man. Go somewhere else to those petty, immature people for that nonsensical talk. If I have to talk about men, I'll talk about it without being apologetic, okay? Don't come at me with that rubbish about balance your views. Are you dumb? Motioni. No, I wouldn't ignore it. The reason I don't ignore it is there are some people, they're not interested in the wider context of what we're saying. They come here, they start but women, you didn't say this about women. Oh, you should see my inbox. After the show, they're going to come into my inbox the way you said it. Oh, I think you don't like women. I think you hate women. Are you joking? I love women. Balenciaga. What do you want me to say? You want me to specifically insult men to make you happy? I don't know what's wrong in your personal life. If you don't like it, go and watch Teletubbies, man. Okay. Sorry, let me see. What was your question, please? Forgive me. And that's the problem. We are too busy with gender war and poking fingers. If I have truckload of bullets to aim at the failings of a particular lady within the context of a particular story, I speak my truth. I don't care about your feelings. All right? Yeah, that's the nonsense they do in Clubhouse. That's why I said it earlier. I am going to repeat something. I recognize the toxicity in the wider society. And the issues we have in the society is people have grown up with these terrible mindsets. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I talk about equality now, both of you have responsibility for the child you brought into existence. Now, the wider society, they have a nasty way of, this guy got this woman pregnant. They are not going to look at the dude. I'm a man. And I'm saying this honestly because I know it's unfair. They will say all sorts of nasty things about the woman. Oh, look at you. Oh, you're never to do well type. Oh, you have a child outside the confines of a marriage. But the dude got her pregnant outside the confines of a marriage. But the woman will get all the blows, all the bottles broken on her head. That's a figure of speech, not physically. And she will become an outcast in some families. Will have an opinion. They will call her after one. It's a very bad slang that's common in Nigerian society. If a woman has got a child, after one, nobody wants to touch her. They see her as a never to do well type and all that. And the man can actually easily cross the road and go and camp with another woman or women or even get someone else pregnant. And it's not frowned upon by the same society. This is a toxic culture. I said it at the start of the show. And I hate it. Rita, thank you. But I hate to even call it our culture because it's toxic. It's life shattering. And these toxic culture, unfortunately, they become the lens through which a lot of young men tend to look at life. Do you understand? It's a society where young girls are groomed, are prepared for marriage. Young girls wake up in the morning. It's nice when you look at it. They teach them how to cook, wash the plates, do domestic stuff. If you look at it on one hand, oh, that's good. We are giving them life-saving skills. But under that, they are grooming them because they know they're going to be procured and commodified by a man in the not so distant future in the name of a husband, right? Most homes, they allow the boys to rest their balls on the couch, finish their food and dump the plates in the kitchen. The girls are in the kitchen slaving away, cooking and cooking and cooking. They do the sweeping, washing the bathroom and toilets. The boys barely. They're in the bedroom as young men beating their meat, playing games, go out, expect food to be ready. Their moms do the cooking, their sisters do the cooking. That's why when they get married, when they get married, they don't have those skills in them. They have been wired to sit back and the man is the protector. That is his responsibility. I get it, but that view is warped. It's a warped view. It's a very dangerous one. It's actually toxic. Yeah, the man is a protector. But when we say protector, right, and we begin to unpack the word protector, what exactly is the protection that you are offering? Oh, if a burglar is trying to break in, you go and face the burglar. Got you. The man is the protector. He's always used in a blanket way. And I think us men, we tend to get away with a lot of things. Yeah, the man's the protector. It goes beyond having a baritone voice and having a wide chest the size of a plasma TV. Financial and emotional. And these days, women are matching up the men's earnings. So the woman can also argue that financially meet you up there, or even if there's a difference, maybe a little bit. There's got to be more that we bring to the table. And that's not me trying to beat us men down. You see, the archaic mentality that they've put in a lot of us men growing up is why when people start growing up living within the confines of their unions, their marriage. That's why you start having problems. There was a gentleman that sent me an email about a couple of months ago, and he narrated all the problems he was having in the UK with his wife. Bro, I read the long-wounded email with lengthy paragraphs. Do you know what I picked from that email? This is a man, he's not used to domestic chores. He doesn't even know how to cook. If his wife says, please help me boil the chicken or fry the chicken, he feels violated. Do you understand? He feels like she's undermining him because he comes from a background where women have been labeled as the kitchen is in fact their best part in the home. Like they got to be the one to fix all that. So if your wife, let's say you live in the West now, hey baby, I'm about to jump on the train for the next 1 hour to get home. Please get the meat out of the fridge or freezer. Please season it and do X, Y, Z. Put this in the grill. Help me blend the pepper. Can you sort out the children's food? And you get angry because you feel violated. Why are you violated? If your wife says, help me sort out the children's food, they are also your children. So what's there to get angry about? You have a joint responsibility for them. You understand? So if we are going to hold on to the narrative that Justina, thank you for being a member of my channel. Hi, Phrankleen, I send you an email. Okay, send me an email, please. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, you see, we can't eat our cake and have it. We cannot eat our cake and have it. You see, if as a man, you lack emotional intelligence, you are distant from your children, you don't bond with them, you're claiming, oh, I'm the protector, I'm the provider, and you don't do things with them, you don't spend time with them, you don't even spend time with their mother and all that, yeah? This is what happens. Naturally, when your children become adults, they will gravitate towards their mother. It's organic, it's natural. When you start to grow old, your bones are old and brittle. You'll understand what I'm saying. Because now you have maybe 3 children, maybe 4. They will just naturally tilt towards mom a lot more. And then you become embittered. Abby, I've sent you my compatibility check info. Yeah. Thank you. I'll have a look. I'll have a look at the email and get back to you. I'm like addicted to your videos lately. Today is my first time meeting you live. I'm glad you're doing a great job. Keep it up, bro. Mirabelle, hey, nice to have you here. You understand what I'm saying? There are plenty of fathers. I love my brothers, man. I'm a man. I'm not going to sit here and just try to put men down. Or please don't interpret this as maybe we're trying to just make women happy. Definitely not. We're having a balanced conversation. Some of you men, let me tell you one truth about the cycle of life. Whilst your bones are still strong, if you neglect your children, thank you, Isla. If you neglect your children and your wife is telling you, spend time with your children, do activities with them, take your son for a drive, take them to football games, watch movie with them, do laundries with them, ask them questions, bond with them, cook with them, fix your car with them, listen to them, learn to roll on the floor with them. If you don't do those things and you are caught up in your nonsensical, toxic culture, you're going to pay the price when they become adults. Trust me, and you will never escape it. Because what I've discovered, in their formative years, All of these history with your children is archived in their brains. They know who daddy is. They know who mommy is. So when they grow older, by that time, your bones are brittle. You're growing older now. You're in your 70s now or whatever, or you're in your 60s or whatever. That's why it's very easy for a grown man like me. You can sit in the same room as your father. He's old now. He's desperately wanting my presence, but there is nothing to talk about because I am not used to talking to my father. He doesn't even talk to me. I grew up with minimal conversation. Hey, your teacher said this, this, this. Hey, have you done this, this, this? Hey, do you know this, this, this? Hey, those are your new pair of shoes. That's all you're used to. So when they're older, how do you begin to bond as adults? It's very difficult. Because if your daughter is not used to you, your son is not used to you. They'll just sit there and just, right, okay, dad, right, I'll speak to you later. Maybe just get one phone call. They talk to you by 2 minutes. Hey, how are you? How are the grandchildren? They're fine. How's work? Yeah, I'm good. This and you, how's your health? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, dad. All right, see you later. Bye. And then you really need them. You start to get angry. Or you start to then say their mother poisoned them. She didn't. You did that yourself. Let me look at what you said, Ayla. I have a question. In your opinion, Phrankleen, do you think this lack of fatherly engagement as it pertains to fathers assisting in domestic affairs is due to not having proper examples or others? Yeah. Ayla, yes. A lot of it not having proper examples, because I've said it before, you can't give what you don't have. Because if you have proper examples, it's just organic. You'll be able to pass it on. Very rarely do you find men who are a product of a toxic background and they grow up. It takes a high level of determination. It takes a lot in the mindset. Very rarely will you find that man go off course and just wants to be a fantastic dad and you see them making effort. Very rarely. It's hard. If you grew up in a household where your father was slapping the hell out of your mom, beating out a pulp every day, what do you think is going to happen to you as a man? Some will become emotionally damaged, and some may look at that and decide to be better. Some, from fighting, maybe they are big teenagers and they got big bones. They're fighting to defend their mom during the course of an ongoing domestic violence. They then determine that, you know what, I'm going to become a police officer. I'm going to become a lawyer, or I'm going to grow up and I'm going to protect my daughters. I'm going to protect my wife. It's hard. It happens like that. Hey, but I have tried over the years to develop a relationship. The good thing is that he isn't scary anymore. And we can crack jokes now. Yeah. Children always gravitate to their mom no matter what. The dad can never provide that motherly feelings. Well, let me say this. Motherly nature is powerful. There's no point trying to fight it. But there is one thing, let's balance this. Let me tell you, if you have a very good relationship with your children, when it comes to the evening part of your life, you wouldn't have to bother or worry about, oh, how much are they gravitating? If I'm sat here, if my son is, hey, mom, let me see you, mom. I know. Men, mom. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Let him enjoy his mom. As long as the whole union, the whole setup is healthy. There are dudes that equally love their fathers. And there are some things that I can't give you. As a grown man, if you see your mom is in the 60s. Look at me with my beard. I'm a grown man. If let's say I'm with my mom, I can still cuddle up with my mom and all that and be like a boy for a minute. That's moms, you can't take that away. But how many times you want to be cuddling up with dad? Except, you have a dad who has a great sense of humor and you grew up being playful around them. You're not going to be cuddling up daddy and kissing his cheeks all the time. Dad is going to be, hey, dude, sort yourself up, man. What's up with that? Jokingly, you laugh about it and stuff. But mothers, man, the motherly nature of women, it's woof. But beneath all of that, if there is a healthy union, ìbáṣepọ̀ tó dá wà ní family, yeah, mom and dad, yeah, you have great relationship with your children. Why should I sit down, be having headache about, oh, my son loves his mother more? What a bastard. Why? There are some children, they might gravitate towards their mother more. Fair enough. You find one that will be daddy speaking too. You'll be fine. But for me, I'm for positivity, well-being. The problem with a lot of these African parents, some of them, they were dictators when they were raising their boys and even daughters. They were dictators, man. They were absolute dictators. They were brutal, they were aggressive. So when the boys become men, when they grow older, do you understand? They're just, hello, dad. And they have, a lot of you are watching me. You have these internalized resentment. You just let it be. But deep down inside, you don't really fuck with a man like that. You don't really like your old man like that because he bit the trash out of you. You never really bonded with him. He was just a dictator. Hey, why are your shoes there? Bang, bang. Hey, switch off that telly. Bang. You're collecting, your mom is collecting. You keep quiet whilst I'm talking. Kapow. Everybody collects, man. The man is in his 70s now. Hey, man, you have abandoned your father all the time that I raised you. Yeah, right. So yeah, some adults, they're just looking at the parent. And equally, some mothers were totally useless at being moms. So don't make the mistake to think just because somebody is a mother, they have a womb, they gave birth to children, means they are fantastic at being moms. Not all moms are good moms. Never forget that. Never forget that. Not all moms are good moms. My dad balanced his play and strictness. When we were growing up, we thought he was being strict. Now we're so thankful, but now we feel so appreciative. African children need some strictness mixed with play. The worst thing now is that parents like these are the ones looking for financial benefits. Ha! Some of those parents were terrible dads, even terrible moms, vindictive mothers. Now you're an adult, you're earning Forex. They want your dollars and pound sterling so much. Giving slap like Oprah's Christmas giveaways. You get a slap, you get a slap, you get a slap. Yes, sir. So yeah, man. That's the story, man. That's me done. I hope you enjoyed the session. It's been amazing. Thank you very, very much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Send me your stories to foodchannel1960@gmail.com. Listen, I'm going to say it one more time, man. If you're watching me, if you want to get anything done, you need errand service. This is me doing a trial phase of my upcoming business, which is bridging the gap between diaspora